So lame. All right. So today I wanted to touch base with you guys on, sorry, I'm going to use the people. I wanted to touch base with you guys on just kind of what I think over the course of almost 5 years in entrepreneurship, as well as 12 plus years in the behavioral psychology space has kind of taught me when it comes to success. And you can attribute success to whatever it means for you, whether it's business success, success in anything. I just kind of look at success as whatever you're doing and you kind of find you achieve what you want, or you feel like you checked off that goal, right? Like it was, your experience was validated by whatever you got at the end of it. And so that can be for weight loss, it can be for mindset, it can be for business, it can be for a lot of things. And so I'm going to give you probably one of the biggest reasons why one of the biggest things I think success is dependent upon. And I know we talk a lot about discipline and vision and dedication, and all of those are very, very important, all of them. But I truly do believe that the most successful people are the most resourceful people in anything that you attribute success to. Okay. Why do I say that? I want you to kind of think. The people who find success obviously are hit with obstacles. They're hit with hardships. They're hit with things that are unexpected. How quickly they find success, or how quickly they rebound, or how quickly they kind of bounce back from that is based solely upon how resourceful they are and how quickly they can pivot. How quickly they can say, okay, wow, got hit. I'm going to shake it off and get going again. I'm going to bounce back up. I'm going to stand up and do this. I'm going to try this. It's all about being resourceful. It kind of reminds me of like the game show Survivor, right? The person who wins is always the person who's just the most resourceful. They're the most resourceful with their energy, with their relationships, with the game, with the activities, with their surroundings. They're just the person who's the most resourceful, right? So the one who can make a shelter out of literally anything, right? Whereas the non-resourceful person is like, where's wood? Where can I find wood? And they get so stuck, right? They get so stuck on looking for that one thing that they spend 2 days without shelter, because they're like, I'm looking for this. Where can I find this? Susan, can you help me? Can you help me find the wood that I need to build this house? Caitlin, can you help me find it? Can we go into the woods together? And like, then there's this other person who's like, screw it. I can't find wood. We're in the middle of an island. I'm not chopping down a palm tree. I'm going to make a lean-to out of whatever the hell I can find. And then they're the first person who has shelter, right? Same thing with food. Someone's like, I don't know how to hunt. Oh my God, I'm going to starve. And someone else like, I don't know how to hunt either, but you know what? We're going to make some traps. I'm going to look for forage and look for some berries and some other stuff. And I'm going to be resourceful. The person who's the most resourceful survives and thrives. And so that, I think, is one of the biggest contributing factors. It doesn't matter how elaborate your systems are. It doesn't matter how educated you are. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. None of that. It is primarily based on how resourceful are you. We often, and this is a very unique industry where all of the tools and all of the coaching and all of the mentorship and literally every single thing you need to run a successful business is right there. In most other industries, you're having to forage for it. It is like a game of Survivor. It is like getting dumped on an island and saying, right, see how long you can make it. And they have to forage for these resources, and they have to scour for coaching and mentorship and help, and they have to piece together whatever they can to survive. In this industry, we are very gifted with A lot of those things. And I'm not even talking on our team, right? Like, yes, our team has tons of resources and lots of mentorship. I'm talking just in general. So here's the thing is we don't have an excuse to not be successful. It's how successful we are is based on how resourceful we are. So when you have an obstacle, when you experience a hardship, when you're faced with something you don't know, what do? Right? What's the first thing you do? Most of the time, I'll tell you what people do, and it's just the default. It's not anything that's wrong with us. The default is to rely on other people. Can you do this for me? Can you help me do this? Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We simply default to it because it's the easiest. And so I see that Caitlin and Tracy, are you having a private conversation over there? Share it with the class, okay?
Her resourcefulness, and she learned one of my children's names. How did she use her resourcefulness? She's made a point of saying 75 times that she can never remember any of my kids' names. And she prompted me to make a post the other day introducing my children. And then she studied said post, and now she knows my kids' names. So she was testing the theory. It has to do with class.
Yeah, okay. That I'll permit it. So essentially what it is, okay, you're trying to, walk a customer through ordering. And a lot of us feel, oh my gosh, we're in this panic stage of, I can't take 5 minutes to go find this answer. And so we panic and we put the responsibility on other people to answer that question for us when we need it. Right. And here's the thing, we're blessed to have people in our team who are available to help. I'm not saying, and I have to feel like I have to put this like footnote in here. I'm not saying don't lean into the team or ask questions. Please very much do that. What I am saying is, again, your level of success is dependent upon how resourceful you are. If you don't know something, go figure it out. Like, go learn it, go find it, right? So if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I had a customer ask me this question and I didn't know the answer, but I found the answer. Guess what guess what the most resourceful person would do? Find a way to keep that answer somewhere or study that answer, right? Like, that's what a resourceful person would do, is they would say, okay, I don't want to have to go looking for this again. I'm going to keep it near me somewhere. And so I really want to encourage you guys and really all of us really, and instill upon us the skill of resourcefulness. If you're feeling stuck in your business, we default to just kind of wallowing and waiting for somebody to like come up with a new system, to pitch an idea of like a Reels challenge or a live challenge or we wait for the company to do a promo. And really what it's primarily about is how resourceful can you be? Okay, my business is stagnant. I'm really not seeing the growth that I want right now. What can I do? What can I lean into? One of the things that I started doing probably 2.5, 3 years ago was studying other people, whether they were in network marketing or not. I studied them. What were they doing? How were they posting? What apps were they using? What programs were they using, right? I would engage with their stuff. And that's how I have discovered a lot of the resources we have today, right? So I would do something and I would click on somebody's ad, or I would engage in their messenger and I would see, oh, they have an autoresponder. Oh, I wonder. And then I would look up Google, chat autoresponders, and I would find a bunch of them and go, oh, that's really cool. Right. I would book a meeting with somebody and I saw on the bottom hand, the logo was Calendly. Ooh, Calendly, that seems really cool. I wonder how we could implement that in our business. Like, start studying other people that you kind of want to emulate, whether it's people on Instagram. I find a lot of inspiration through ads. No joke. And the more you engage in those ads, the more of them you'll see. So basically that's how I self-taught, myself about funnels and lead magnets and building websites and Canva and like all these things, is because one, you can Google it, you can go on YouTube, you can listen to podcasts, you can YouTube it, right? All these different things, and be resourceful. I want you to go out and like glean all the things you can from all the places around you, gathering up all of this knowledge or inspiration, and being resourceful when it comes to building your business or hacking your mindset or growing in the self-development arena, really anything. Because I think a lot of times, and this is also, I think just our society today, is the word entitlement is a bit strong. So I don't think that's, I mean, for our society, yes, that's absolutely the word. But for us here, I don't think that's the word. I think it's more so just a feeling of lost, right? You're entering into a different space. You don't really know what to do. It's like this mixture between overwhelm and feeling lost. And that can kind of culminate together into feeling stuck, into feeling this sense of analysis paralysis. Like, I know I should be doing more, but I don't know what that looks like. And then you get an idea of what doing more looks like, but you don't know where to start. And then you take the first step in starting, but you don't know what it looks like to go further than that. And it kind of is this constant battle with yourself about you're so afraid to outstep what you know currently. And that's really what being resourceful is it's using your current knowledge to walk forward outside of your comfort zone where that knowledge does, you don't have that knowledge right now. You get it. You have to step out of it to go get it. Okay. And that's what really keeps a lot of people stuck, is you operate in this space of what you currently already know. And that is what is limiting you. And what resourcefulness is stepping out of that to discover things you don't yet know. To say, hey, out of this circumstance and out of need, I have to learn this. I have to evolve. I have to grow. I have to develop. I have to learn this new skill. And you have to be brave enough to enter into the space of, I don't know where the hell I'm going. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know what it's going to look like. But that's essentially that's what life's about. But that's especially what business is about, is you always want to operate in this space where you are 1 foot in a space where you don't know anything, and 1 foot in the space where you just learned something, right? And you're constantly like stepping forward. Okay, I just learned that. I'm going to master it a little bit, but before I master it, I have to learn this new thing. And you put your next foot forward into the space where you're like, holy shit, I don't know anything about this, but it's okay. I know a little bit about this piece right here. And then as you're learning about this piece, you begin to master this one, and you can kind of, like a ladder, right? Before you grab the next rung, you have to kind of have a hold of the other. You can't climb a ladder by letting go of everything altogether, or you fall backwards. So being resourceful, and part of that, one of the ways I more directly want to talk to you guys about that is, if you're on my team, we have a ton of resources, and we definitely have tried to narrow it down over the last 6 or 7 months, and condense it, because it can feel overwhelming. It's one of those things where sometimes too much information is not a good thing. Like, it is, but it's not, because the sheer overwhelm keeps people from using it, which therefore makes it ineffective. So the knowledge and the resource is effective, but if you're not using it, it's not effective. So what we did, myself and a bunch of other leaders, a lot of them here right now, like Tracy, Caitlin, Alicia, Heather, but then we also have other leaders outside of our team, who have helped us create this resource that we really want to make sure becomes a staple in our business, because it will simplify so much for you guys. So when it comes to resources, it's kind of almost like an encyclopedia instead of a library. So before, when you walked into when you walked in, you were like, whoa, and you saw this library with books and books and books and books and books, and you're like, which one do I read first? And it was really overwhelming. Versus now, it's one book, but it's an encyclopedia. So what you want to look for and what you want to know, you can look for it in that book, right? So I know some people might be too young on here to know, they're like, encyclopedia, what the hell is that? Back before Google, it was a book that people found things in. So it was like a Google book. So you had to ask the encyclopedia anything by looking at the table of contents in alphabetical order and then going to said page number. So that's essentially what this operates as. And for the other people who hopped on who are not currently on our team, they did want to do another overview of the program that we're using and how to use it effectively. Yeah, Tracy still probably has the whole set of encyclopedias that people came to your door and sold you, A to Z, and she still writes on stone tablets. I'm sure the original encyclopedia set she has is in stone, probably. Yeah, it was Moses' encyclopedia. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and screen share really quick, and I want to show you guys what it looks like. Hold on, it's taking a little bit. Okay, and this is not what it looks like on your end, but this is what it looks like on my end. But I figured this is really good to show you guys. So when you sign on a new person, they get a link, and this is our onboarding link. However, it is not just for new people. It is for every single promoter, myself included, Tracy, Emily, Gabby, Kayla, Florencia, all of you guys. Everybody should be a part of this. Why? Because yes, we have module 1, learning all about VIP, but that's not all. That's not all we have right now, okay? This is going to be, again, your encyclopedia for everything you need to know about promoting. It's going to be a living, breathing document, meaning as we come up with new trainings, new exercises, new ways to grow, they will be added in here, and every single person who becomes part of the team will have access to it. But one thing that is really cool is instead of handing your new person an encyclopedia that's this thick, you just hand them the first page. That's what this is right here. So as you can see, module 2, 3, 4, like all of these are locked, meaning until they have done these, they cannot access this. Until they have done the introduction and until they have learned about VIP, they cannot skip ahead and learn all about social media algorithms. They can't skip ahead and try to educate themselves about all the plus line products and overwhelm themselves and get really confused. Okay. And oh, sorry. Hold on a sec. Do you want to say something, Michelle? I didn't want to like cut her off if she wanted to say anything. So I was like, oops. And so that's why it's really cool for new people is that when they first log on, all they see, I'll show you guys this is what you guys see. See, this is it. This is all, they have a little piece they get to bite off, and they get to learn all about step by step what it takes to get started. And then they have some homework and they have a small assessment. That assessment is like a little 5-question quiz just to kind of test their knowledge. And when they're done that, module 2 will unlock. As we speak, a lot of us are creating module 2, 3, and 4. They should be done in the next 2 weeks. And then, like I said, this will just grow and grow in like depth. And this is going to be the one-stop shop that we use for educating promoters. So when you log on, you're also going to see when you sign up and when you log on, you're also going to see a bunch of other resources. We got some feedback and we kind of heard from other people that maybe we should kind of take that away for the time being, because that can also feel overwhelming. And maybe what we can do is we can add links to access it later on in the course. So we did kind of hear that feedback, and we're already kind of, sorry, if you miss questions, does that mean a retake? Yep. So it's a passing score of 90. And so it will let you retake it. Yes, Mary, just to answer your question. But essentially that's what we want people to do. We want people to understand their VIP. We want them to know what goes into it. We want them to fully understand all of the nuances of VIP, and we want them to spend as much time as possible in that space, because that is what is vital. If that's all they do in their first 14 days before they unlock module 2, I'm okay with that. Because you know why? It's duplicating people who know how to explain VIP like the back of their hand. I'm sure there are some people right now, if I unmuted and asked you a question about something regarding VIP, you guys might not know it. A lot of you guys might, but some of you guys might not. Right? And so it's good for all of us to take that refresher, because we want to know these things, especially a lot of us on here. I can't speak for the people I don't know about. If we're all, we're not in VIP anymore. If you're not in VIP, you should be like a VIP expert. I don't care if you're an expert in the products. I don't care if you're an expert in the comp plan. I don't care if you're an expert in anything, but if it's one thing you should be an expert in, it's VIP. Like that is the basics. You should know that stuff like the back of your hand, because that is the first thing that people are going to come into this business model needing to know, and will need the most support from you. And it also is like a make or break for some people. Some people, if they don't hit VIP or they feel lost, they may not hit it, but if they feel really lost and overwhelmed during VIP, that to them tells them this is how I'm going to feel the whole time. I'm going to feel really lost. I'm going to feel really overwhelmed. My upline doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They couldn't answer any of my questions. They weren't resourceful. Remember, like we talked about, they weren't resourceful and they couldn't find me the answers. I don't want that experience going forward. And so that's also why we created this. All of us leaders got together and created this so that you don't have to be resourceful, Tracy. There's a Z in there. First of all, who says resourceful? That just sounds weird. Okay. I want to know. Of course, Tracy does. Resourceful. Okay. That one sounds even more weird. Okay. So this is essentially going to be the expert for you. Use this as a tool. Everybody should be in this. This is what we are using moving forward. This is our onboarding system. And this is our new staple. So when people sign on, this is the link they get. Hey, I'm so excited to join your team. What's the next step? This. Here's the link. So a lot of us used to go from like recruiting them to doing all this other stuff, going back and forth, trying to find a time to do like a three-way call or three-way chat. And then we'd add them to team pages, and then we tag them in a bunch of stuff. And then we check in with them every single day via Messenger. This kind of replaces 90% of that. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, awesome, here's your first step in getting started. Complete module 1, and then you can get back to me. Because in module 1, at the very end, it prompts them to schedule a call with their upline, or a chat or a Zoom. And if they don't know who their upline is, there's a bunch of us who have put our calendars in there where they can book a call with one of us. And that doesn't mean that we're going to steal them. It just means we're going to say like, hey, good job on completing module 1. What questions do you have, before you move into module 2 kind of thing. So that is what this replaces, so that you can then work on developing yourself as a coach. because essentially that is what we all are. If you are looking to build this business in any sense outside of just getting customers. If you are going to be enrolling promoters, you need to have this switch in your brain that says, now I am also a coach. If that just means you crap your pants a little bit, I'm okay with that, because that's the reality of it. I'm not going to be that person that's like, it's okay, you don't have to. Not everybody's a teacher. Well, I'm not saying you got to be a teacher, but you definitely got to coach. And a lot of times coaches were players, right? And then at some point they stopped playing and they began coaching. So that is how you need to think about yourself moving forward. Is you're now their coach. What do coaches do? They train and develop them into really awesome players. Rachel, go ahead.
Hey, so quick question.
Yeah.
So I know we want to simplify the onboarding system. So we have like all those links that are in the flow page. And I know the idea is not to link vomit on them. So would you recommend, so I have two questions. One, should we put this next level link on the flow page? Number one, not to, maybe just so it's there in case they lose it or who knows what. And then my second question is, would you recommend us still sending the flow page with all those, like the Facebook links and all the other resources like later on?
Yeah, we can. Only because I know that there are some, I'm trying to think, there are some things in there that are our team specific. I would say that I would embed it in the course, but there might be some things that are specific to our team uniquely. And that can just be a resource that you hand out to them later when you feel like they're able to kind of digest it. And you can totally add this course link to it just so they kind of have it on hand to be able to send out to other people. Also right now, again, because we don't want to overwhelm people, we want people to kind of get their bearings before we add new things. And this isn't necessarily anything that you guys have to even be aware of or do or be a part of, but sometimes just knowing it exists and that it's in motion can make people feel really overwhelmed. So we don't want to do that. But this process will be primarily automated when it comes to nurturing your new promoters. However, that doesn't take the place of you checking in with them and you developing them and you coaching them and you integrating them into the community. However, what this does is when they enroll in the course, they get put into an email segment. I don't know how many of you guys got the email that went out a little bit earlier. I think it went out around dinner time, I think maybe. If you've enrolled in the course and it just kind of welcomed you. Well, what that's going to do is now they're going to be getting a trend report, meaning certain things sent to them that are going to help them build their business. They're going to get, whether it's templates that can help them create things in their stories or on social media or for certain promotions. It can also have some encouragement, some resources as far as, hey, this is a really great podcast if you're really struggling with your mindset. They're going to have a bunch of stuff that's really going to help integrate them with developing as a business owner, as well as maybe certain things that are happening in the, not necessarily in the company, but like our teams at large. So like if we're doing trainings or something like that, we can have like an event that can go out that they can register for. And it can be, like if we were doing something like this, I could have put this out in an email and said, join us at, 7 p.m. Central for a, whatever, a joint team training, something like that. And I also say this because not all of our promoters will be coming directly from you guys individually, because we will also have something that's collecting interested promoters as well that you can push out yourself, or that will just exist on the internet somewhere and kind of bring people in. And I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get too much into that because people will hear it and go, oh my gosh, This sounds like a lot. And that's not what I want to do. That's when we're in that phase, we'll talk about that phase. But essentially, like we were saying, being resourceful, having something that you can point people to, but also you being resourceful in the sense that you know where to find things. When you're feeling stuck, what do you do? When you're feeling lost, where do you go? Like that survivor example in the beginning of this Zoom, are you the person who's going to sit there stuck looking for wood to build a shelter, and then 2 days has gone by before you've even attempted to build it because you're so busy looking? Or are you going to be that person who finds whatever they can and pieces it together and has a shelter on day one? Because that really does make all the difference. Whoever can be the most resourceful, the quickest, is the person who gets to the top the fastest, and whatever the top, most successful, the whatever. Okay. And so that's what I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, because I like, obviously discipline and drive and vision and all that is very, very important. But that does not matter, because I mean, it does matter, but that doesn't matter when hurdles and obstacles come. What matters when hurdles and obstacles come is how quickly can you rebound, or can you juke, or can you get out of the way, or can you pivot and do something different? Can you find a new answer? So if the certain way you worked this double, triple promo last time it came out isn't working now, it's not the promo's fault. It's our fault. We're not being resourceful. We're not thinking like, how can we think out of the box? Right? That's when, like I said, that's when I am like, when I get in that space, I just go start looking at all these other people, even in other industries. Cause I'm like, if it can work in other industries, not network marketing, why can't it work for us? Are we so different and special that like, we're not like a normal business? Like those things won't work for us? And you just begin to look, right? So don't wait around, because your upline may be stuck in the same situation. They may be like, I don't know. And you're waiting for them to give you the answer. You might be waiting a while. So be resourceful. Same thing with if you have a question and your default is to just ask your upline or to ask the chat, which again, caveat is that's okay. I'm not saying don't do that. But it's good to first, before you do that, go try and look for the answer. Why? Because you're going to be all the wiser for next time. And two, because you can't control how quickly they're going to respond or accurately. There are some people who think they may know the answer, but they only like know half of it, right? Or none of it. And you cannot control. I can't count the times I have woken up to messages. For those of you guys who don't know me, like I shut down like around 9. I am an old woman. So if I get like messages in my inbox past like 9 o'clock and I wake up, sometimes I get really impatient people who are like, oh my gosh, I need this answer. I need it right now. Why aren't you answering me? Like, and I get it. They're panicked because maybe it's a big deal for them, but just looking for the answer or being resourceful and saying, okay, I know that Courtney is really the expert in this area. Who else is an expert in this area? Like who else can I ask, or can I Google it or YouTube it, or where can I look? Because yeah, you can't tell if your upline is going to be an old lady and go to bed at 9. Like you don't know that. Right. Or if they're going to know it all, what that answer is, So that's kind of what I wanted to leave you guys with, is just really being resourceful and using all the things you have at your fingertips. It has never been easier to build a business online than it is right now. And so if you're struggling to build a business online, if I'm struggling to build a business online, if Tracy's struggling, we're the problem. We're the problem. And it's not like a bad thing. It just means that's actually a good thing, because I can control the problem. If it was the company, if it was the world, if it was the internet, if it was all these other things, I can't control that. But if the problem is me, that's good news, because I can fix it. So I kind of encourage you guys to start thinking out of the box, finding inspiration from the craziest of places. And like Gabby, when she did the Spirit Week, brilliant. right? Thinking outside of the box. We had never done anything like that before. It just made sense, and got this inspiration from somewhere else, and was like, hey, how about we try that? And I think it really did help kind of really reestablish that sense of camaraderie and like the team. And it was great. That's innovation. That's resourcefulness. Yeah. TikTok, super underutilized. Absolutely. Again, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, it's whatever you're afraid of, whatever you're fearful of, whatever you don't know, you avoid, right? I just did a 3-day training on how to create a funnel. People are freaking terrified of that. Why? Because you don't know. You don't know how to build an email list. You don't know how to create a landing page. You don't know how to make a funnel. You don't know how to create a lead magnet. So you don't know, so you don't do it. But if that is where we're going, and if that's where marketing is going, and if that's where the people are, then you need to learn how to do it to an extent. I'm not saying you got to go be like a pro, or if you don't want to go do that, then you better be resourceful and go find something that works just as good doing something else, right? So just really encouraging you guys to think outside the box, be resourceful, try new things, get inspiration from all of these other places, and really try and, I don't say like educate yourself, but like just don't be afraid to get the wrong answer. Don't be afraid to get the wrong answer just by looking. I think that's also a thing that people don't want to, they don't trust themselves to find the answer, or they don't trust themselves at all that the answer they found is correct. They second guess themselves. And so by asking another person, it gives them that validation that it is indeed correct. And they feel more comfortable with that answer. And so don't second guess yourself. If it's the wrong answer, it's the wrong answer. Pivot, right? Pivot and try something different. Most of the things that I create, I fail miserably at the first few times. So, and then you learn to recreate it after the fact, and you refine it, and it gets better, and you get better. And then also lastly is utilizing this new resource that we have. It is, again, like I said, it is going to be the staple that we use to train new people and to train existing people. This is going to be like our training Bible. And it's just it's just the easiest way to keep everything streamlined. And that's why other teams jumped on board, so that it's the ultimate duplication. Not only is it just Thrive Army doing this, I mean, it is next level thrivers, rockstar thrivers. It is all kinds of thrivers out here who are doing this. And we're working really, really hard to really flesh this out and make it a very dynamic training for you guys, to really equip you to really go next level. And that's why it's called Next Level Network Marketing, because we don't just want to be those average network marketers who just get by, doing their 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which we should still be doing. But again, we want to give you guys resources and tools to really ignite and explode your business, so that you can teach other people how to ignite and explode their businesses as well, and just skyrocket. And the bidding will start at $500 for Tracy's children. So $10. She's like, no, not 500, like $10. All right. Any questions? I want to open it up. Does anyone have any questions, whether it's about what we talked about, whether it's about the resource? Rachel asked about the links. So I want to give people the floor if they have any questions. And this is recorded, and we'll go ahead and make sure to send it out to all of the other leaders of other teams, because they did ask us to record this. So if nobody has any questions, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I know it's late for the East Coasters. It's approaching my bedtime on the East Coast. So I try to be mindful of that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hopping on, taking time out of your evening. I know you guys could be doing a whole lot of other things, like spending time with your spouses, watching a movie, going for a walk, doing all kinds of other things. But instead you were here and you were pouring into yourselves, and you were growing and developing. And we always greatly appreciate that and see that and validate it. So With that said, we will let you guys go. And when this recording is up, I will go ahead and send it out. Love you guys.